With the success of Denis Villeneuve's adaptation of Frank Herbert's iconic sci-fi novel Dune, it has been the hope of many to see Herbert's sequel novels adapted as well. This hope has been fueled by Villeneuve himself when he revealed it was his intention to continue bringing Frank Herbert's writing to life on screen with the sequel novel Dune Messiah, a dream that appears is now becoming a reality as it has been reported by Deadline during the flood of promotional material for Dune Part 2 that the sequel is indeed part of a 3-film saga. In this video, I'd like to delve into what we can expect from the third installment of Villeneuve's epic, which is set to adapt Dune Messiah, the sequel to Dune, and whether or not this can provide a satisfying conclusion to Villeneuve's trilogy. Spoiler warning if you are unfamiliar with Frank Herbert's Dune series. Villeneuve initially revealed his plan to adapt more Dune stories back in 2021. In an interview with CBC Radio Canada via Collider, Villeneuve said, quote, "There is Dune's second book, The Messiah of Dune, which could make an extraordinary film. I always saw that there could be a trilogy. After that, we'll see. It's years of work. I can't think of going further than that." Villeneuve's task isn't trivial. Dune is a massive tome filled with themes of ecology, politics, religion, and individual destiny. The sequel, Dune Messiah, though shorter, delves deeper into philosophy and prophecy, while further building the characters and world that has been remade in the wake of the events of the previous novel. Splitting Dune into 2 parts and dedicating a standalone film to Dune Messiah should provide more opportunity to explore these intricate narratives. Villeneuve's first 2 films bring to life the full story of Dune, which centers around Paul Atreides, a young nobleman forced to flee into the desert after a bloody coup. He eventually rises to become the leader of the Fremen, the native people of the desert planet Arrakis, and his actions trigger a galaxy-wide jihad leading to billions of deaths. This violent religious uprising, although initiated by Paul, quickly spirals beyond his control, setting the stage for Dune Messiah. To many readers, Dune Messiah is seen as more of a precursor and a setup for the events that transpire in the following book, Children of Dune. Therefore, Denis Villeneuve's decision to culminate his trilogy with this book comes off as somewhat unusual. Given the intricate complexities and narrative developments in Dune Messiah, I'd like to provide a rough overview of its events for those who may not be well versed with the details of the book. Again, major spoiler warning for those who haven't read it. In Dune Messiah, the Emperor Paul Atreides faces a conspiracy intended to undermine his rule. Key figures, including his wife in title only, Princess Irulan, are implicated, with Irulan secretly sabotaging Chani's chances of pregnancy to secure her own standing within the dynasty. The conspirators introduce a Gola clone of Duncan Idaho into Paul's life, intending to destabilize his reign. Amidst the subterfuge, Chani, Paul's concubine, succeeds in becoming pregnant, but her health is gravely compromised due to prolonged contraceptive use, which has been secretly administered by Irulan. Paul then falls victim to a stoneburner attack, rendering him physically blind, yet his prescient abilities enable him to continue seeing, thereby enhancing his deified status among the Fremen. In a significant turn of events, the Gola clone of Duncan defies his programming to assassinate Paul, and the trauma from this event unlocks his original memories. Complications arise with the birth of Paul and Chani's twins, resulting in her death. Both of the twins are preborn, having fully awakened within the womb and flooded with the memories of their ancestors. The story reaches a fever pitch when a Tleilaxu face dancer threatens the lives of the infants and proposes to resurrect Chani as a Gola in exchange for Paul's relinquishment of power. Paul sternly rejects the offer and kills the face dancer. In the final act, the emotionally broken and despondent Paul chooses to venture into the desert, according to the custom for blind Fremen, thereby cementing his offspring's rightful claim to his empire. Paul's sister Aaliyah oversees the execution of the remaining conspirators and assumes the role of regent for the twins, with the awakened Duncan by her side. Remorseful for her past actions, Irulan has a change of heart and pledges her loyalty to Paul's children, ensuring their future within the Atreides dynasty. If Villeneuve intends to follow this story arc for Dune Messiah, the ending to his trilogy will be profound, yet likely baffling for many general audience members who are unfamiliar with the Dune series. The image of the once great Emperor Paul Atreides, now blind and heartbroken, willingly walking into the desert to his presumed death, is a challenging conclusion. It will force the audience to grapple with themes of power, destiny, and the fallibility of heroes, which is certainly the intention of its original author. However, I feel that this somewhat jarring ending can be softened and given a poignant resonance through the dialogue found at the close of Dune Messiah between Duncan Idaho, Stilgar, and Paul's sister Aaliyah. These conversations, reflecting on Paul's decision to venture into the desert, could offer an avenue to contextualize the film trilogy. As Paul walks into the desert, symbolizing both an end and a beginning, Duncan's dialogue with Stilgar and Aaliyah could infuse the story with a sense of hope and potential. Their words could frame Paul's departure as an act of personal sacrifice necessary for the survival and evolution of the Imperium. They could discuss the implications of Paul's act and a reflection on his life, providing closure and setting the stage for a potential continuation of the series. This approach could pave the way for future adaptations of the Dune series, possibly in a miniseries format. The complexities of Children of Dune and God Emperor of Dune would certainly lend themselves well to a long-form narrative structure, providing more depth and detail than a standard film format could achieve. In this way, Villeneuve's trilogy, while presenting a complete and satisfying arc in itself, could also serve as a springboard for a more expansive exploration of Frank Herbert's vast universe. His trilogy would not be an end, but a beginning, a gateway into the deeper layers of the Dune saga. Ultimately, I think that ending the trilogy with Dune Messiah allows for the series to focus on the rise and fall of Paul Atreides. From his humble beginnings in Dune, where he is forced into exile and rises as the leader of the Fremen, to his ascent to Emperor and subsequent disappearance into the desert in Dune Messiah. The story of Paul Atreides in Villeneuve's Dune trilogy could effectively deliver Frank Herbert's strong warnings against following charismatic leaders and the cataclysmic consequences of unchecked power and religious fervor. While Paul does return later disguised as the preacher in Children of Dune, his time as emperor effectively ends when he gives himself up to the desert. It is a compelling arc that traces the complex trajectory of a leader burdened by prophecy and the consequences of his decisions. In this context, Villeneuve's trilogy would stand as a detailed portrait of the character of Paul Atreides, presenting an intimate exploration of his evolution. It can provide a comprehensive study of a character marked by power, vision, tragedy, and resilience, making for a memorable and impactful cinematic saga. But I'm curious to know what you think of Denis Villeneuve's plans to end his Dune trilogy with Frank Herbert's Dune Messiah. Do you think this would be the best place to end his film saga? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a like if you did, and be sure to subscribe for more Dune and other sci-fi and fantasy news and lore. Thank you all so much for your support, and as always, have a very nerdy day.